Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everyone to episode 155 of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It's great to be back on a kind of dreary Friday evening, joining you from Orange County, California. It's been raining the last couple of days. It's kind of funky. Like, where'd all my nice sun go? But that's all right. We always could use a little bit more water here in the irrigated desert of Southern California. But anyhow, Sheep is still in the process of moving. So exciting.
Moving.
You know what? I thought that too.
Sorry,
if he was a cow, it would have been way better, but he's a sheep.
I shouldn't have. I apologize.
But we still have some great friends joining us tonight. So I am joined, of course, by two of my favorite people. First, welcome back, SchmoopieDaddy. It's always great to have you. It's good to see you. How are you tonight?
Honestly, the worst I've been in Hearthstone terms in a long time. I'm in the middle of a tilt queue, and I'm super angry and Madge. and all those things, and you know what?
You're so calm for being so.
That's just, dude.
It's because you have kids.
I don't know.
I was gonna say he's a teacher and he has kids, so he has to keep his angie on the inside.
I'm trying my best. I don't know if I'm gonna get there, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna get there.
If you start to rage, it's okay. It'll probably be entertaining.
Exactly. Right. It's like worth it.
You start turning red and throwing things, and now your camera's gonna like fade out.
I'm about to feel a lot better though, because this Kingsbane rogue keeps putting his Kingsbane back into his deck, and I'm about to Tony it. So that's
sweet.
Fun. Yeah,
that'd be
nice. Well, we are going to talk about some fun decks tonight, but first, welcome back, Hydralisk. It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm great, to be honest. This week is like we're preparing for our big ISO audit. I feel like this is like the third year in a row I've talked about it, but like it's always the most stressful time of the year because you're trying to get all your ducks in a row. And being in the quality department like I am, there's a lot of stuff like calibrations and a lot of things that need to all be in order. And you walk around with the auditor and they ask to see things and they got to dig a little deeper, go through all the history of paperwork. You need paper trail for everything. So it's always super stressful for me. But it's not going to be over, for like another month.
I'm in that same exact boat, except it's budget, but it's the same thing. There has to be, everything is like super documented. The budget document's like 400 pages long. And that's why I'm working after the show tonight.
There you go. I feel you, man.
So,
yeah, it's been a little exhausting. And at the same time, I'm just, I'm tired, man, but I'm so stoked to be here. That is like the highlight of the week because the week is over and we're doing the show and it's always a great time. So for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. Let me briefly explain how this show works. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs, and the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are then distributed to all podcast apps. However you're watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Yes, thank you all very much, especially those of you who are joining us live on Twitch. It's really fun to interact with you all live while we do the show, so appreciate y'all being here. Very quick housekeeping before we get the show started. Wanted to say a big thank you to Shokunin, the executive producer of our show, and to Armorn, our longest running supporter and always first in chat. That's the running joke currently is SchmoopieDaddy every week. Armor beat me again.
It's not a joke. It's just a law of physics at this point. Like Armorn will be there first.
That is.
Like, I'll know when we're going live. I will tune in. I will go to click the message. Armorn's like, hey guys.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Oh dear. Well, if any of you out there are interested in supporting our show, there's a few ways that you can do it. Some are free, like commenting and subscribing to our stuff on YouTube. That helps other people find us. If you want to leave us a comment or review on any of the podcast platforms, that's really helpful. Otherwise, yeah, if you want to come hang out with us, we do have a Discord channel. I will put the link in chat right now. The link is also on our website, which is borntobewildhs.com. It's an online community of friends that we've made all across the whole world. We share deck lists up there and stories, funny usernames, do some co-op. I saw Ben from work was in the co-op chat the other night. I think I missed it, but it's great. It's a great place to hang out and interact with people. And this is where I go to either find deck lists typically, or I'll post ones that I find to try out later. So super cool. If you're somebody who's on Twitch a lot, we do have some emotes that you can unlock. There's some that you can get for free just by following, and there's others that you can get by subscribing, which is also free if you use your Amazon Prime. Lastly, we do have some merch that you can get from our website, and I have this great schmoopy couple on the screen wearing them. Oh, then SchmoopieDaddy's wearing a hoodie right now, and I'm wearing a shirt too. See? Oh, and Hyder's wearing a sweater. There you go. We're all wearing it. It's great.
On brand. Well done.
That's right.
I know. Like, did my wife talk to your wife when they picked out our outfits today? Because
my kid complained when he saw me put it on. He's like, "Dad, where's my merch? Don't you get it for free?" And I was like, "No, I had to buy it too."
Oh my gosh, it's funny. Like, we do this program really for the love. We make $0 on any of this stuff. So. And so when we made the merch stuff, it's reasonably priced. I remember early on, like, seeing people's merch shops, and it's like, oh, well, you can get a t-shirt for $50. And I was like, excuse me, like, that's insane. And so ours are like $20, I think, if you're interested. They ship, they're print on demand, and they ship worldwide. And it's kind of cool because the way that they're set up is the artwork is up there. You pick the artwork that you want, and then you can pick any color or shirt to put it on and print it, and they send it to you. So anyways, enough of that stuff. But I do have to take a quick look at the Discord to see who this week's show is dedicated to. Maxabillion.
We missed it last week. Here we go.
Whoopsies. Let's see. Jupiter Decker Balls. That's kind of funny. Let's see. Ultralisk. What?
Yeah, trying to upstage me. Come on.
Ultralisk. Shame.
I mean, it's a real thing from StarCraft.
Fat Ugly Ginge? Is that supposed to be ginger? Oh my goodness, that's kind of mean.
I'm assuming he's describing his own appearance, and it's just like, yeah, I'm owning this. Deal with it. You're losing to it.
My favorite is the notorious PIG.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Big penalty.
It must be. And then we have Fart Museum, of course. They're most
a classic.
Classic, I swear we saw one of those in Snap also, or something, because I was playing on the iPad last night or the night before, and I just started laughing. My wife was like, "What?" And so I showed her, like, "Look at my opponent's username." She rolls her eyes like, "Oh, grow up!" And it's so funny and stupid.
Didn't you say you ran into Danny Donuts?
I ran into Danny Donuts playing Marvel Snap, and he beat me the first round, and then I ran into him again later, and then I beat him, so at least I felt vindicated a little bit. Now, coincidentally, this week as well, I ran into Andrew Is Living. Wow. A good friend. Yeah, he was the host of the Happy Hearthstone for a long, long time. And he rolled me 2 games in a row in Snap, which is a little disheartening, but good games. And it is always fun running into people on ladder that we know and stuff. And very cool. Anyways, typically at the beginning of the show, we kind of like to talk about our week. And unfortunately, like Ida was saying, it's been super busy for me. So I don't have anything awesome to report. The month rolled over. I was thinking about going for Triple Legend, and I just ran out of time. I did hit Infinite in Marvel Snap, and I think if I would have focused on Hearthstone, I would have maybe got my triple. But I ended the month with 2 Legends, 1 in Classic, 1 in Wild. I tried to climb at the last minute, like the last day I got on and played some games, and I just, like, after losing like 4 in a row, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'll take my 10x and just start over tomorrow. And so I've been playing. We'll talk about it in a minute. Kind of the meta and the decks, and we've got a few that we're looking at. I haven't really settled on anything in particular. I've kind of been doing like a deck roulette. I climbed with a few things, but they're decks that I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes. So we'll leave it for there. So yeah, we'll see. But anyways, ideally we'll be hitting Legend again very soon. I'm sitting at like Diamond 5 right now. I'm actually at Diamond 6, but very close. Anyways, SchmoopieDaddy, how was your week? What are you up to? You get day 1 Legend again?
I did, and actually, like, so it was kind of goofy about it. I think last time I was on the show, last Friday, I was like, am I like ranked 2000? I don't know if I'm going to get to 11x. And so what I did is I did like a good Dex roulette that was like just decks that seemed to be okay into the meta.
Oh, I did bad Dex roulette. That's where I went wrong.
which was like, it's like post nerfs. Usually there's a little bit more wiggle room as far as like what's acceptable, and like it's less refined and there's more wiggle room, and like your opponents aren't as defined. So I did okay. I got up to like 1,300. Like I broke 1,000 a couple times. But I was right at 1,300, and it was Sunday night, right before the reset, and I was kind of like looking at it, and I was just like, do I really want to jam a bunch of even shaman games and get 11x, or do I want to tank it and go to the bottom? And I was like, well, I've never actually tried this late, this close before. Let me try. And I really like there are points in the day where it's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. I probably went something like 13-1 or 13-2.
Wow.
Got to rank 430 and said, you know what? I'm going to camp here. There's no way I decay out of it. It's the first month of the expansion. Normally I would have like tried to climb to like top 300 to be safe.
Yeah.
But I beat the person who was like rank 28 in a mirror.
Wow.
He drew Chisel. I didn't. And I was like, that's probably my last game. I jumped like 90 ranks on that game. I was like, all right,
wow.
This is probably safe. I'll stay here. Which brought me into my Legend climb day 1. And I got in with a sterling record of 33 and 34. It was some of the most. It was some of the most grindy gameplay I've ever had to deal with, which is in such a contrast to last month. Using virtually the same even shaman list, I cruised in with like a 60-70% win rate, and got in inside of. I have to check my records, but like I got in inside of like 30 games.
Well, see,
so it was very different.
That's why 11x is so nice. Like I remember back in the day, I had it for a while, 6 months or so. I kept it pretty consistent, but I remember one time, like, I really wanted to play whatever deck it was. Bad deck. It was playing Q-Block or something like that. And I was just like, I'm going to hit Legend with this. I don't care. I've got 11x. I'm just going to do it. Yeah. And hitting Legend with like a 48% win rate is atrocious. Like, you can do it, and it's awful, and it's super grindy.
With a slow deck.
And it
10x
just like
volume of games though. It's
it
a lot of
is.
games.
It is when you're like win one, lose one, like you'll get there and the bonus star can carry you, but it's not quite the same. I remember the first time I saw it, like people hitting Legend with a sub 50% win rate. It was like, what? How does that even work?
It sort of like stunts what you're going to get in at too, doesn't it? Right? Like if your win rate is abysmal.
It does. Well, you'll get in low, like especially if you do it early, like day 1, day 2.
Oh, if it's early, then yeah.
You'll come in low, but then what happens is you decay super fast. So
because people come in and they're higher MMR than you.
Yeah.
I came in with a decent MMR. Still, because I was watching people enter, and they were entering like 100 ranks lower than me. I came in at 53.
Nice.
And I think there were probably like 70 people in Legend at the time.
Yeah.
I know. Like honestly, it's always a funny debate that I have. Do I want to do a 10x climb where I'm going to do more games, but I might have a higher win rate? or do I want to do an 11x climb where I don't have a higher win rate, but the progress is probably quicker because the win rate that I do have is probably still faster than whatever I do at 10x. Because like winning game after game after game after game and just sort of cruising and then just sort of getting into that last little grind between D5 and Legend, like I don't mind it. I don't. It's my Super Bowl. So it's like, you know, I get really focused and I kind of hone in and I just sort of get in the zone. I grind out game after game and I enjoy that part. It's like the one part of the month where like I really enjoy tryharding. I don't know. This month just felt bad because the amount of free shaman I saw where it was like, they always have the Murloc package. They always have Flurgle on 5.
It's gross now. Like the lists have evolved. Like I've got kind of a spicy one tonight, but I took a page out of your book or what you were telling me. Like I was looking for lists and you were like, "Hey, free shaman's good." And I was like, "You have a list?" And you're like, "Oh, you just take the old one and stick all the Murlocs in it." And so I just made one, basically doing that, and it's disgusting because you draw all the Murlocs. And not only can you clear the board, but you can also eat all their stuff and you then have a giant board yourself. And it's like, it's obnoxious. And you don't even need half the cards that you used to because you can play a bazillion Astalors and like your Shudderwock, like you don't need to bounce Shudderwock like you used to.
No.
Because Shudderwock is going to like do a bazillion ping damage and give you more Astalors. So...
You're just gonna print Astalors, and so you just spam Astalors till the end of time. It's insane.
I think I'm gonna go vomit.
Yeah, like we have someone like first time in chat. Where is this shaman list? Literally take any free shaman list and probably take out the Snowfall Guardians and plug in Giggling Inventors, and you're good to go. Like
Giggling Inventors was interesting for me. I tried them and then I ended up pulling them out. But it was just it depends what you're seeing, right? And like I was seeing so much shaman mirror, just the greedy Shudderwock Shaman stuff. I'll give you my code, but I'm at like Diamond 5 with it, so play at your own risk. It's not refined. It's something that I made at like 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. So you take it with a grain of salt. But I'm pulling up Hearthstone real quick in the background, and I'll put it in chat. But it's not that great. We do have a list that I'm going to look at in a minute, amongst other things. Yeah, I was looking at my legend runs, and the lowest I ever came in was rank 14, and that was back in August of 22. Nowadays, coming in at like 2,000. It's so sad. Last month I came in at 749. So
my high point was rank 5 with 10x.
Wow, with 10x too? Holy cow!
Nobody must have been playing. Like I came at, what was really cool was I came in at 10x, at 5 at 10x, and then Shmoopie Mommy hit like maybe an hour later and got in at like rank 10. So like there was like a neat little moment where like we could like, or no, I think she entered at like 6 or something like that. Like we could screenshot and I could screenshot and have both our names on the same screenshot.
Nice. That's
cool. That's
really,
cool.
It was really cool. Or like, you know what it might have been? It might have been that she came in at 10. But I was decaying down because people were like getting in above me. So like I was 9, she was 10, or vice versa. Like however, like we had come in. So it was really neat to have that screenshot where like we're both on the leaderboard top 10. It was neat. Yeah, like last month was 34 games with 11x. The month before that was 51. This was 67. So like this was a grind. But that's okay. I've been kind of like trying to find a way to balance myself between goofing off and playing good stuff. And like whenever I goof off too much, I'm like, all right, I'm starting to tilt. I should play good stuff and like beat people. And then I'll play good stuff and I'm like, well, this isn't really fun. I really want to like goof off again. And so I'm finding myself in that yo-yo. I've given 140 ranks today. I've literally been just donating MMR to this one person I know has been botting for several months.
Oh no!
Because they were playing Sprint in their Pirate Rogue and like made some awful plays. So like I have 90% confident they've been botting for 4 months. And now they're on even shaman, and I keep losing to them, and I'm just donating MMR. And so I'm sort of spiraling on several grounds. But my week's been fine. Thanks for asking.
Hyder, what about you? Anything good? Anything bad?
Well, like you, Nate, I wanted the also good triple legend, and I lost hope. I got the classic and I got the wild, but the standard, I just like my start bonus was too low.
Yeah, I got to diamond 5-ish.
I think I only got to like plat 5. I was like, I don't have any. I'm winning one game at a time, 1 star at a time, and it wasn't for me. So I don't know. I got to start earlier. I tried that too late in the month, basically. So I need to start it earlier to be able to get the triple.
I wonder what bonus star rank we have in classic.
Oh, I was mad. It's 10. Mine was 10.
What?
I was like, I came in at rank at legend 15, and I was like, come on.
I'm gonna check mine real quick because I swear
I decayed too much.
I had a 92% win rate though. Like it should.
I decayed to 8. Yeah, I know. I decayed to 820. I have a screenshot of. I think that I don't know if that was the last.
That should have been good enough for 11x.
It's yeah, well, that may not have been the last screenshot. I took that screenshot when I got my wild legend because they're both in the same picture. So
you should see. You should see where you ended up total.
Yeah, I don't know where it went, but yeah, I was hoping if I got the 11x, I would have just definitely like grinded out like right away.
I only got 10x also. How come?
Yeah.
Like my win rate was over 90%.
Yeah, mine was 87.
I guess it's
the goofy
not.
thing is there's so many bots that like there's like just like the total number of people playing classic is larger, so like it's almost more forgiving, I would think.
There was
like,
more
like you can
like when I got in, there was like almost nobody there, right? Because I got in.
You were like single digits, right, or double digits, ranked 10 or something.
It was nutty.
I came in at 15, and I didn't check to see. I should have checked the leaderboard to see how many people were actually there at the time. But it was quote unquote day 1, 3 minutes after midnight, right?
Yes.
When I posted the screenshot, so I don't know, we need like a camera on the finish line there. But I don't know. But I wanted to get the triple, didn't happen anyway. So I switched back over to wild, and I thought, okay, well, because I came in on the 15th of the month, I hit legend in wild, so I came in at 1139, I guess is. I have the screenshot of, and then I just stopped playing. So I decayed to around like, I don't know, 2000, 2200, something like that. So I hopped on and I thought, oh, let's try and play a bunch of games. I went 6-1 one night, which was pretty good, which was 86%. Towards the end, it brought me back down to about like 1500. Obviously nowhere good enough to get an 11x, but whatever, it was fun. And then the new month started, and I've done jack squat. We have the new rewards track, so I have new rewards track syndrome where I just bounce around on my accounts, completing all the quests, making sure I don't miss any dailies, which I did because of other issues. I talked about that last week. But yeah, it's just been a eliminate the quests fest for me. I've been doing schooling again, so that's been I don't want to call it a distraction. It's more of a priority.
You're learning how to be a hairdresser, or what is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, what is it? It's like engineering, mechanical engineering, or something cool.
It's quality engineering. Yeah,
very cool.
So that is sort of taking up some time. Sort of a priority. So
just a little.
Forgive me. So I've been doing that, and also like reading a million Stephen King novels like usual.
Is there? I wish that there was a new one. The last one was kind of fun, the fairy tale one, but like it was so different than his normal stuff, and I have not. Well, I mean, I listened to the whole thing, and I enjoyed it, but it was just so different than what I was expecting. That
it was very similar to he has a book called The Talisman he wrote in like
with
the early
Peter
80s.
Straub
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. I would say it's like fairy tale was very similar to that. And those two are kind of like nothing like the other stuff. It's very like fantasy, but also not as it's not scary really, right? Like there were some sort of like scary beasts and whatnot, and those like skeleton dudes that look like Hearthstone cards. At least in my mind, they did, like ethereal ones. But there is actually a new one. But Nate, before it's coming out in September, or whatever, when he always releases them, but you have to have read all of the Mercedes.
Oh, I have. I have.
And then you have to have read
good.
The Outsider as well.
I did. All right, I'm good.
Okay, because it's focusing on one of the characters.
Oh, cool. I'm excited because the Mr. Mercedes books were fun, but The Outsider I thought was incredible. Like, that was great. And
yeah.
I've been on this binge lately of like true crime podcasts. Heaven help me. And I've listened to some that are really bad, and I've listened to a few that are like really good actually. And so I've kind of done that lately, but I'm waiting for like a new book to really grab me, and I have not found anything. So I'm
what I know about, like, if the Mr. Mercedes trilogy and The Outsider are crime novels, right?
Essentially,
with a little bit of like Outsider has supernatural.
There's some,
stuff in
yeah,
it, right?
yeah. Some of the later Mercedes books do too, sort of.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be along those lines because it's still following the finders keepers. They set that up. The finders keepers,
the agency, yeah.
Agency, yeah. So it's going to be about that. So
cool. All right, book club podcast incoming.
Yeah, right. We'll have to read it at the same time. Anyway, so my week has been studying, reading before bed, and clearing Hearthstone quests. I have not even begun the climb, except for on you or Asia. I'm almost at Diamond 10, but
it's good timing then, because that's what we were going to talk about tonight. I've been struggling a little bit in trying to find what to play. Like, I typically what I recommend is looking at the meta and making a decision of a deck to climb with based on kind of like a meta call. Like, what are other people playing? What plays well into that? What am I comfortable playing? And
something made you play Ragnarok's Big Druid.
Well,
our big. I saw that.
I was really struggling to find something that, like, I wanted to play with some of the new cards, but I wasn't really sure what to play. And so I have a handful of lists that I've like cherry picked from the internet and Twitter and Discord and friends and stuff that we can talk about tonight. But I'm really like kind of struggling with what to play. I'm like just shy of Diamond 5 right now. So I'm at Diamond 6, but that, like, if you win a game, you're into Diamond 5. That's where I'm at. So yeah. I've been playing mostly on iPad because I've been trying to, like, I hear a cat. I want to play, but I also want to still hang out with my family. And so I've been spending more time playing like on the iPad, and I can sit next to my wife while she's watching a show, or, if we're in bed, like I can play on the iPad. So I don't have stats or anything, and I probably don't maybe play as well when I'm half asleep, but whatever. Anyways, I have a few lists to look at. The first one, so I saw Corb playing a ton of Questline Druid. Questline Druid feels like the new current good thing. Of course, my first game into it, I queued up into a mech paladin of all things, who got this giant board full of Divine Shield taunts, and I just rage quit. It was like, oh, no. It's like, cool, yeah, man. I completed my quest on like turn 4, turn 5, and played Guff on 6, but like with 6 taunt minions with Divine Shield, like I guess I'll just lose then. And
I warned you.
Yep, yeah,
the sneaky good.
It is good. So the version that I brought tonight is not Corb's, but I saw this on Twitter and I thought it looked fun. It's from Mox. He said 89% win rate, and he's got the stats here at Legend 26 with it. And here's the list. It's similar, but it's a little bit different. This one's running Groovy Cats, and what is the other minion that, like, when you use your hero power, it gives you additional armor. The other one gives you additional attack, which is interesting. Yeah. Although, like, I found myself barely using the hero power because all my spells did the thing for me.
Yeah,
but I thought this was cute because it had Arcane Giants at the top, which you play basically for 0.
Yeah.
but it looks fun. I don't know what the perfect list is. It's probably closer to Corbett's if I had to guess, but
Get Me Off was fooling around yesterday with a list that was trying to capitalize on Oracle of Elune and then copying Owls, Crypt Keepers, and Arcane Giants. And it was like Dark Glare, but with like the whole like face package. And I think I said last week, I wasn't sure which deck was going to be better or where the meta was going to shift. My money was kind of on the more slower Astalor package because I thought it was a little bit less polarized and a little bit more like, let's do Druid floop things, and then the quest line is kind of like an afterthought, that like an extra win condition. That's where I thought it would go. But people have been loving like the Arcane Giants. I think you're gonna start seeing that as being clear. Now I know it's goofy that he's running like Savagery in here. Like I think there's other things we could run, and I even think there's a case to be made that
I missed your like. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I miss your like Park Panthers or whatever they're called that have rush and they give you hero attack. Like
I was about to say, I think in place of the Groovy Cats, you could probably plug in a Park Panther.
Yeah.
If you're at 10x and you're playing a lot of even shaman, just for more like contest board than anything. And then you don't have to run garbage cards like Savagery. Like we have better cards than that now.
Yeah, I agree.
I think something similar to that. I think Get Me Off was running like nature studies over it. So there's like a little scam in there too. So it's like a little fun.
For those asking in chat, the deck lists. Well, let me first say, if you're watching this live, we've got the graphics up on the screen and we're posting the codes in chat. If you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to the audio version, the show notes, the link is in the YouTube description. The link is in the show notes or whatever. Like all the codes for these decks, you can copy and paste them if you want to try them out. So, and the lists are in the show notes, like the pictures of them and the codes. So if you want to try them out, that's the easiest way to get them. We used to like read every single card, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It's a little much. So I recommend the audio or the video version if you can, but check out the show notes if you want to like see what's in the deck and copy and paste the code so you can play with it. Again, these are new and I don't think that these are perfect by any means, but they're kind of fun. I think that this list is a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. Excuse me. I think that it's not refined all the way yet. I do like the Arcane Giants. I think that they're good in the list. I don't really like the Groovy Cats and the
Savagery.
The other Free Spirit. The ones that update your hero power. Like I think they're good in standard, but they just, I'm not sure here. For people asking Floop, I think the reason that Floop is in the deck is just redundancy. Like if you want an extra guff, there you go. Or
it's 100%. It's extra guff or like.
I mean, you could have an extra Arcane Giant, I guess, or an owl.
Handle if you like if you like you need another taunt, you just throw down a 3/4 taunt. You're like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, guff I think is the reason people used to run Bran in this deck because you could Bran, like this is way back when the questline first came out, right? Because you could Bran guff and get 16 attack, I think, and it was cute.
You're in Zola too. Like you could Bran guff and then Zola the guff.
Well, and
now you got a billion guffs and a Bran on deck. It's like, all right, good luck.
There's that Druid card that gives something +2/+2 and taunt and puts a copy back in your hand, right?
Spike Shell something.
Yeah. And people were running that for a while too, just to get more guffs. And it was like, all right, this is a little much for me. But the list is kind of crazy because, I mean, if you've got a bunch of taunts or you can freeze them, then they kind of like stall out. But otherwise, they complete the quest super quickly. You get a ton of armor, a ton of attack, and they ignore all your minions and just go face and win very quickly. And so yeah, it is what it is. That's Questline Druid is back.
Yeah, I sure see a lot of it these days, I'll tell you that.
Best deck in the format.
I still have seen Twig in the form of Tony Druid, which I did not bring tonight, but I ran into it several times, and every time I run into it I lose. It's really irritating because like I think the only 2 minions in the whole deck are like the
Tony and Auctioneer probably.
yeah, it's Goblin Master Auctioneer or whatever it's called, and Tony. And so you auctioneer and just a whole bunch of 0 cost spells. So you just cycle through your whole deck and you play Tony and you mill your opponent. And what irritated me about it is that they play through the entire term. It's like an APM deck where you're card. The rope is burning, then the turn ends, and they're still playing for 2 minutes. And it's like,
oh my gosh, I know.
do they have it? Do they not have it?
I played against one yesterday. They only had like 2 health left or something on because I was playing Pirate Rogue, and it was turn 6, and they dropped the Auctioneer. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go like make some food, right? 'Cause, like, I know it's gonna be a while. You're gonna swap me decks, whatever, but I'm gonna kill you the next turn, so it's fine. And so it was great. I still won. I let them play their turn.
Wow, good job.
Oh, yeah, it was sweet. Like they could have tried to fatigue me, and they did a little bit, but not enough. And I still won. It was great.
I'm seeing
you gotta hold on. You can't just concede when it starts happening.
No, you can't. That's the thing, and it's irritating because
you concede.
Like, I don't know.
No, I have a trick. I have a trick. Home.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh yes,
leave client. Leave client. Like, and I'm not saying leave client so long that you get a disqualification because of disconnect, but you just leave client. And for me, like, I have it timed out because I play on my phone, right? So like I leave, and I'm like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, whatever it is, and then I click on the app. And then the app takes time loading up, and it loads up my game. And what that does is it actually skips all the animations that you would normally have to see if you had stayed in client, and brings you right into what's happening right now. Like right now, what are they doing? And it's usually the middle of their turn, and the rope's burning, and they're like, I'm going to play this, and I'm going to play this. And it's so much less tilting than if you're just sitting there and watching the whole thing play out. And what's really funny is I'm sure it's a little bit jarring for the opponent because immediately after their turn ends, I'm taking my turn.
Yeah.
And I've used this technique, I'll call it, in a couple different situations. I've used it when I'm playing Quest Mage and like I'm playing my Romath and like I know it's like, all right, this is going to take a while. And so I'll leave, I'll come back immediately. Great. And then I'll play my next couple Romaths. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave and come back. And like again, it's not cheating, right? Like I'm not like animation hacking or manipulating my files. I'm literally like, listen, if you're gonna put me in animation hell, I'll find the legal way to get around it, which is I'm gonna leave client, I'm gonna come back, reload it for me, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And I've also used it with Ignite Mages. Like, so that I'm not like, oh my god, they're cheating. Like, because the crazy thing is you can tell which Ignite Mages are cheating because you can do you can do that little technique that I'm talking about, and you load back in, and they're done. They're waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Oh, a taste of their own medicine.
So it's worthwhile in a lot of the animation heavy like APM stuff to just like leave and come back. And you know what? Pillager, I used to use it too. Pillager, I left it a little bit long because I didn't want to know if I was dead. I just wanted to come back into client, and the game was over, and either my rank was higher or my rank was lower.
That's great.
And if my rank was lower, I didn't see myself die. I didn't care. I didn't tilt. I just queued back in. If I won, Puggies. I queued up and I kept playing. So that's my technique for getting around that.
Nice.
I like it. Nothing's like worse than watching the screen go for like 2 minutes, hoping you'll survive, and then you die. So
it's a misnomer. People think people are cheating, but like they just don't understand that like the way the Blizzard client is set up is that animations take time.
Yep.
And they're presenting each individual animation to you. And that's going to take time, and you're just going to have to sit there and wait for it. Or don't. Leave and come back, and then that won't happen. So.
Yeah. All right, well, this next one I actually did most of my climb with because I was hanging out with my wife, and I wanted to be able to play a deck that I didn't have to really pay attention while I played. So here's the Drooler deck, non-even Shaman Drooler deck, anyways. By Doc Delight, aka White Delight, who got rank 30 legend with it. It's Big Priest, right? I know. I think somebody said with incredulity, like, you net deck Doc Delight. Yes. I know it's dangerous. So I had it playing with fire here, literally, because Ragnaros is in this
I'll
deck.
do it, but you, Nate, really?
I know. And you know, the reason that I did, so this is a Big Priest list, okay? And
Sure is.
the difference, oh gosh, the difference with this list really is that it's running Ragnaros, which lost me many games against all the pirate rogues and won me games against the druids and the shamans. So it's like, but
you had fun.
I did. Now, what I liked about this list is that Love Everlasting is an insane card. Like, especially when you play it early. Oh my gosh. Like the spells, your spells for the rest of the game, as long as you play one, cost 3 less or whatever it is. It's crazy.
And that's all you do in the deck. You just play spells.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense.
And so
Everlasting on 3, or coin at like Everlasting on 3 means Shadow Essence on 4.
Oh yeah. Without having to rely on your palm readings and your illuminates and stuff like that. This is nutty. Now, I don't think that this deck is optimized because it's running 3 minions: Ragnaros, Blood of Gahoon, and Neptulon. That's it. And if you whiff, like, you're sad, your Zarek's cloning gallery like doesn't pull much.
Yeah.
Although Big Priest was only running 2 minions, right? It was like 2 copies of Blood of Gahoon and your Neptulon.
Yeah, so you basically
runs 1 blood, 1 Nep.
Is it just one and one?
1 and 1. I think you want to maximize getting an early Neptulon as much as possible.
Yeah.
Now, some people tilt at drawing the minions, and it's kind of it's like too bad, so sad. Like get good. Like, you just kind of like suck it up and just like take the punts when you do.
Yeah. Well, that's why Dredge is good, because if you see them, you can put them back, or you can stick them on the bottom, or Sphere of Sapience.
Oh yeah, you illuminate. You see blood down there. You're like, or Nep down there. You're like, all right, we're good.
I think I'm too susceptible to tilt to run only 1 Blood of Gahoon. I have to run 2, because if I draw the 1, I'm ticked. Right, so having
you draw 1, it's great as long as you haven't drawn Nep, right? Because that means that you're summoning Neptulon forever.
Yeah,
that's true too.
Neptulon, there's tons of ways to like OTK with Neptulon with Gift of Luminance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nutty. So again, I think this version is a little bit bait. Like Ragnaros, I don't think it belongs in this deck. It was cute, but especially. So here's what I'm seeing, right? The Circle of Life is like the aggro and the control and the combo, except there's really no good combo right now. I guess you've got Tony Druid, and I don't know if you really consider Shudderwock more of a control or more of a combo or somewhere in between, but like the Pirate Rogue just like it's so fast that it rolls over them. And there's nothing like, hey, if I pull a Blood of Gahoon, at least I have some taunt, and then I can bring back the taunt. But Rag, like, no, your opponent just laughs. Like, oh yeah, you kill my 1/1 pirate with your Ragnaros, and they just keep going face and they don't even touch it, right? And so I would cut that for sure. But the reason I brought this was really to talk about Love Everlasting, because the card is insane.
Card's cracked. And Big Priest is on the cusp of tier 1 because of it. Don't tell Reddit. Don't give him the satisfaction.
How would you change
But
this?
it is so much more consistent. He's only running 1 Hysteria. I'd either run a second. So the Zarex and the Rag leave. I personally would probably go with, he's running the maximum amount of weapons. I'd think about either another clear. Definitely a second copy of Hysteria. I don't love it in like the Reno Priest matchup because they steal your Hysterias. So like you want to get them out of hand as much as possible. But probably a second Hysteria. If you're paranoid, you run a second Blood of Gahoon. I'm not. I'm out of my mind. So what I would probably do is he's got 2 Spellstones. You probably run a Holy Nova. Does he have Holy Nova in there?
No,
Oh yeah, they buffed that, right?
They did recently, yeah.
You might. There's an argument to be made that like you don't run like a second Hysteria. You just run 2 Holy Novas instead of the Xerix and the Ragnaros, because that spell is so much better than Nether Breath, and that spell wrecks an unbuffed Even Shaman board, which is like kind of the deck you're sort of trying to feed on. Mm-hmm. Right, because like it doesn't quite like snowball fast enough to give Big Priest a ton of trouble. Like you can get there as the Even Shaman, but like you have to work for it. It's one of the reasons why I have a Lotheb in my ETC and my Even Shaman, is because like then you just win the Big Priest matchup. Like you drop Lotheb on curve and it's like, what are you gonna do? I'm showing you 9. Like get wrecked. But the Big Priest should win more times than not in that matchup otherwise.
I was playing this because I started seeing so much like Shudderwock free Shaman that I was like, bite me, and I'll just play this because of like play your little minions or whatever it is, play your dirty rats and your freezy stuff. Like I don't have anything to freeze.
It's tough to lock out big Priest. You're not wrong.
That's tricky. I was losing automatically to the Pirate Rogue. I saw a handful of secret mages and I'd lose to those because like can't play any minions, can't play any spells. So I basically kind of locked out.
Big Priest you should win. A Big Priest, because there's no burn. Like nobody's playing Cloud Prince anymore. If
it depends. I don't know.
You just have to play around their sinking counter spells pretty hard.
Yes.
Yes. That's
you hard play around counter spell on that.
Yeah, you have to.
Like so many times I could be summoning a minion, but I don't, because they most likely have counterspell, and sometimes they don't have it, right? But now they don't have it, so you can do it next turn if they don't play another secret. So you have to definitely play sub-optimally and not just go, I hope it isn't counterspell, right? Because a lot of times it will be.
Yeah.
You can't afford to be wrong, right? Like you're in a situation where
because
you lose the game automatically.
I'd rather play the card next turn knowing counterspell is not up. Like
sometimes you have to YOLO it, like you don't have a choice, but
100%, because otherwise you're going to lose.
Yep.
So
it's definitely situational.
You're playing that balance.
Okay, so question in chat from Heaven's Door. Let's say that someday in the future, Big Priest becomes tier 1 meta tyrant. How do you nerf the deck without nerfing cool cards like Love Everlasting? I think that Neptulon was a little bit of a problem. Like
Shadow Essence to 7.
Yeah.
Then give us Barnes back.
You hit like Shadow Essence is the problem.
Shadow Essence is a problem.
Illuminate.
Neptulon has always been like kind of crazy. Illuminate is a little bit of a pro. Like there's nothing like Illuminate into a turn 3 Shadow Essence or turn 2 Shadow Essence. It's like super so annoying. Gross. But
Is Neptulon the problem, or is summoning a Neptulon on 3 the problem?
Yeah, that's it. Neptulon in and of itself is actually like
10 mana card, right? Like that's insane to have to nerf a 10 mana card.
No, I don't think Neptulon is the problem. It's that you're playing it so early.
It's how early it's coming down. So you nuke the mechanism for that, right? And that's, for me, I think that's Shadow Essence. Like Shadow Essence needs a hit. Yeah. If you want to say Illuminate needs a hit, like, and you want to hit Priest Mana Cheat at the same time, and you want to make it like, like it takes a little like 1 less, that's fine. Like,
yeah, the problem is like what you said, Illuminate nerfs more than just Big Priest. It nerfs Priest in general.
Like if they really want to, since Illuminate is standard legal, the target they should hit is Shadow Essence, because that's not standard legal. They can hit that just fine. Nobody will miss it. Except for wild Big Priest players who are Legion, and just hit that and be done with it. But like if you want to say Illuminate, that's fine. I disagree, because I think Illuminate's a really cool card.
I found myself
the problem is Shadow Essence and go from there.
Yeah,
for me,
I found myself wanting more removal. Like there's so much like Shadow Visions, Thrive that like it's cool, but it doesn't help me with against this giant board of pirates that are killing me.
Oh, is he running Needles in this list?
Nope.
Okay, well, those are the 2 cards you put in then.
Yeah, you probably need the Shadow Needle and another
You need
Hysteria.
the Shadow Needles. The Shadow Needles. Well, the Shadow Needles for
There's so many pirates,
Rag
man.
and Xerix. That's what he cut. You need the needles.
Wait, yeah. What do you take out? Rag
The
and
Xerix
and
Cloning
Gallery?
Gallery and that's what he did. He
Oh,
took out
and you just put in the needles.
Yeah.
and he shoved those 2 things in.
I see.
And he literally took like the quote unquote perfect 30 big priest list and just did that.
Well,
Like,
Love Everlasting is new, but that's that card is anyways. That card is bonkers. It's
And
really
one
good.
Hysteria.
It's
There's
nuts.
one Hysteria, which you could probably plop. That's probably what it was too. Is there may have been 2 Hysterias and Love Everlasting.
Oh, it's
took one
probably
of
the
their
other
spots.
Hysteria. Yeah, probably.
Or Shard. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think Love Everlasting is now core. in
Oh,
Big
100%,
Priest.
100%.
I don't think that's like anywhere near the flex. Like that goes in everywhere.
Yeah. Anyways, well, this is crazy. I'm reluctant to talk about it because then everyone's gonna start playing it, and then we'll all be upset. Actually, I'm so tempted to start playing Pirate Rogue because the games are so fast and just it's great. But
That's what I climbed with on.
You have
I
the
think
affinity for it.
I love
That's
it.
what
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say I was climbing with Pirate Rogue on. I think it was EU the last couple days, and it was just smooth sailing. Like it really was. Like I'm probably not exaggerating it. Like an above 70% win rate, above 75. Like it was just like
Nice.
straight up there. So I'm not high the ranked. I'm just still like on the cusp of coming into diamond, but the games were just like I didn't even notice how quickly I was just trying to complete quests, right? And deal 200 damage to your opponent. Well, I could do that with a Pirate Rogue deck, right? Like that's like my quest. And play Battlecry minions. All right, pirates do that. There's Battlecry, and yeah, it was just super smooth sailing. So it's not bad right now.
Nice.
Can I answer a chat question right
Yeah,
now because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
on topic? What do you think is the best Pirate Rogue version right now? It's probably the version
Do you have a code? I can bring
the
it
version
up.
that runs the 1 Wicked Stab, but you take the Wicked Stab out and you put in like Putricide.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this
That
is
being said, the Pirate Rogues now that are running Cold Bloods and Harmonic Hip Hop, I keep dying to Cold Blood and Harmonic Hip Hop. So my gut tells me those are good cards in the list, even though they're not pirates. And we're going to look at the stats at one point, and it's going to be just like no-brainers that we run either or, maybe not both, but like at least one. Maybe Swordfish whiffs too much running both, but like especially Harmonic Hip Hop feels absolutely cracked in the list. And so that's something. Harmonic Hip Hop, for people who aren't nerds and don't know, that's the spell that's switching constantly between +3 attack for your weapon, deal 1 damage, and deal 3 damage, +1 attack for your weapon. So either it's more burn from hand, or it's more damage on your weapon, and you slap that sucker on a Swordfish with its high durability, and it's like you're just taking. Like it's a stupid amount of damage.
You know, does
and
that-
they're more lethal for sure.
I've seen people playing Kingsbane lately
yeah.
and running that in your Kingsbane as well, which is a little scary.
Oh no, it belongs in Kingsbane.
Oh,
but
100%.
But Pirate Rogue gets on the border.
Do you think that we put cutting class back in Pirate Warrior then? Like I
Pirate
hate
Rogue?
a Pirate
No.
Rogue. I've been upset ever since it got cut because it just didn't
No, I
mean,
I'll
you can
play
still run it
because
if
I'm
you
stubborn
want.
and a hipster. But like, I don't think you can afford to run that many spells. And you're starting to get to a point where Pirate Rogue is shifting away from like this, like the kind of rogue deck that I like, the Smork Rogue that I like, where it's like, let me Secret Passage and draw a bunch of cards and get a bunch of damage. And it's just like, I can always find damage off my Secret Passage, to more of a aggro Druid type deck that is going all in on its first board and its second board. And because of Secret Passage, you basically lean on Secret Passage really hard and say, okay, I can make a second and third board because I have my Secret Passage.
Yeah.
But it makes you greedier with your Secret Passage. You're not playing it until turns 4, 5
Yeah.
as
You're not-
reload.
yeah,
and
you're not
you're
just
making
looking
plays
for-
until then.
You're not looking for lethal with it as much as you used to be.
Right.
I don't enjoy playing that version as much of Pirate Rogue, if I'm honest. As somebody who's played a whole lot of Pirate Rogue,
Same.
I'd prefer playing more of like a almost like a, it feels like a Scimitar Rogue style deck where it's like, I'm gonna go, and like sometimes you're secret passaging on 3 because you're looking for a very specific payoff that your deck is engineered to give you.
Yeah.
To set up lethal for the next turn or something. And that's just not happening with this deck. So, yeah, I think the best Pirate Rogue probably does cut Cunning Class. It's probably running Fell Wings. It's probably running... honestly, you could cut the one Wicked Stab in that weird, widely played list and run Putricide. That makes a lot more sense. He generates a ton of value. He's got a huge butt. Mm-hmm. You're making a bunch of tokens. You're making a bunch of potions. But I would not be shocked if when a little bit more data analysis comes out and people play the deck more. And in Wild, we're always behind because we have such a small population, right? We're leagues behind standard with that. I would not be shocked if Harmonic Hip Hop or Cold Blood looked really good stats-wise.
Yep. I agree.
Because Odd Rogue is doing well. Odd Rogue is doing well in part because it's leaning so hard on Cold Blood. I refuse to believe it's a bad card. So
yeah, no, I agree. Ever since it got unnerved, I think it's pretty solid.
Sorry for ranting.
No, it's cool.
It's actually a really interesting evolving point in the deck right now.
Yeah, I'm curious. I might play some of it and give you my thoughts. Also, Pirate Rogue is one of my favorite decks of all time. I've hit Legend with it several times, and I really enjoy it. And the new iterations I don't know that we're settled on them. I never liked Wicked Stab in it. It just. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not my cup of tea.
If you're gonna run a burn spell, I always like the Vis because you could always combo it with a 1-mana pirate, and you could take out something that's like a taunt, like a sticky taunt in the beginning of the game. Whereas Wicked Stab, you have to wait until turn 5 before it has the value you want for it.
Yeah.
And so it's it's awkward enough that it's a Vis is 100 times better than Wicked Stab. But again, this is not even a deck we're featuring tonight. I'm going off the rails. Rain and Schmoopie.
Off the script. Okay, so I saw
have a story to go with the next deck. So please go ahead and intro it.
Okay, so Shudderwock Shaman or Freeze Shaman or whatever you want to call it is everywhere right now. The version that I brought tonight is Sinferno's list, which is a Reno list. But it felt pretty solid to me. My own personal list is not a Reno list because I wanted the redundancy. But this list felt pretty solid, actually. So he hit rank 62 Legend with it. He says here 77% win rate. It's 17-5, so it's not huge stats. It's 11x climb type of deal. But deck feels solid. I don't... The problem with Reno decks, in my opinion, is that they get a little bit... You don't have the consistency that you would otherwise, but this deck just plays a bunch of good cards. So I'll pull up the list on the screen. It's in 4 different screenshots or 3 different screenshots because it's running ETC also. But I'll post the code in chat. Again, this is Sinferno's list.
Murwalk.
I will say, I think that Shudderwock Shaman as a whole is in a really good spot right now. Not even because of the stupid Battlecry cards, it's just the Murlocs. The Murloc package is insane because you've got Ice Fishing to draw Murlocs. You've got the big Murloc, the Gorlock Ravager. Yeah, that draws...
Fish is cracked.
Yeah. So you draw 3 Murlocs from that. The Clownfish reduces them. You've got
Scargill. That's also
yep.
Scargill Clownfish is one of those combos you can't understate as far as
Scargill makes everything cost 1, and then you've got Mutanus in here, and then you've got ways to copy the Mutanus. So it's and then of course Flurgle Tox to clear the board. So it's disgusting, right? Because you can clear the whole board and spit out a bunch of giant minions, and you can eat their stuff, and it's like the fun police. It's kind of slow sometimes, where though I think the Pirate Rogue can get under it. The Reno version I feel like is a little bit less consistent just because it's a singleton deck, but you know, I mean, all in all, it's pretty good. Inside the ETC is it's just a second copy of Cold Storage, a second copy of Brilliant Macaw, and Brucon. So
what's cute about this is you can cold storage your own ETC, bounce it back to hand.
Oh, gross! Wow.
Play ETC, then play Brilliant Macaw, and then get your Brucon.
So you can get all of your cards. You can get
them all.
You can fully access your ETC, and Brucon's probably good enough that you might want to run him main deck.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
I am.
It's hotly contested among Shaman mains in Shaman Cord, but like Shaman Cord is also like a little bit deranged. So like I don't. Like, they're not always playing with a full deck of cards. So but like Brucon probably belongs there. One amalgam band is a Murloc and probably belongs in the ETC.
You know, my opinion, it's pretty nasty.
Brucon, but it's gross when it comes off.
I've seen people play it. It's surprisingly good. The Murloc that this is missing is the Twin Fin, the surfing Murloc, the 2/1 that makes another 2/1, and they both have rush. Whatever it's called, Twin Fin Fan. It's okay. I don't know, but I feel like if you're gonna run this package, like the Murloc package, you want to really just play the Murlocs that you want to draw, because if you really need that board clear and you draw a Twin Fin Fan, you're going to be like, no, that's not what I was looking for. But the deck is to the point where it's kind of just nutty. And my climb anyways has been such a freaking greed fest that people are running the quest in Druid just because it punishes the other greedy decks, because it's like, I guess I'll just have my battle cry twice. And you know, can you get punished by aggro? I guess, but there's a lot of clears in here, so
I think Shaman Questline is like, it's not optimal, but it's sneaky good. If only because I have lost to decks literally just because they played the quest on one and they found Astalor at some point.
Yeah, because you can button Astalor and hit him for 28.
Astalor and you lose, and it doesn't matter what I've done. I lose. Like like you're literally like I'm talking about like garbage shaman decks. Like dudes playing cards that I would play in Death Knight. Like dudes playing like Waste Warden into curving into Skulking Geist, curving into just like trash after trash after trash. Doesn't matter because button Astalor.
Yeah, and I think that this, like Shudderwock Shaman, my favorite version of it was back when Questline Hunter was wreaking havoc, and we had like teched out the Shudderwock Shaman to include Boom Pistol Bully, so that it slowed down them playing their Questline reward.
Very good in the mirror too, by the way, which you might start seeing some Boom Pistol Bullies come back, given how much free shaman there is in the meta.
There's one in this list, coincidentally, but and this was pre Snowfall Guardian nerf, where the card was actually good. I mean, it stalls right now, but the plan, like the old game plan, you had to run Serenite Chain Gang, you had to run Zola, because the idea was if you want to go infinite with your Shudderwock, like you play those so that you can bounce your Shudderwock and play multiple Shudderwocks. And now like we don't even care because Astalor is a busted card.
Doesn't matter.
And you just get infinite Astalors. Like I think the last game I played last night, I had like 6, 7, 8 Astalors. Like it just didn't matter. It was disgusting. And finally, like I got bored and I played Shudderwock and he just killed the opponent. It was playing against a Blood Death Knight, and I was like, oh well, they had played Mograine and I was taking damage at the end of each turn. I was like, all right, well, I guess I better end this before they do something cute. But it felt kind of nasty because like I could just keep playing more and more and more, and it was very gross. I don't know that this version is optimized. Like I'm a little bit reluctant to play Reno decks because I feel like they're not as consistent, but
I have a story about this deck when you're done.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say, but I think that Shudderwock Shaman is probably like tier 1 at the moment. Some form of it anyways.
It's funny that you're like you're showcasing deck lists that I've actually faced on my climb to legend.
I try to pick like spicy ones because the other piece is that I went to Tempo Storm and their latest meta snapshot is old. So it's just not relevant at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to find lists off of Discord or Twitter that were like current ones because I don't want to feature like 2 weeks old lists that aren't valid anymore.
Gotcha. And so, like, I played Dr. Light, and the one time, Dr. Light's on my friends list.
Yeah,
like,
mine
if you're
too,
on my
yeah.
friends list, and I queue into you, I say like, good luck, or like, good luck, have fun. And Dr. Light usually, in Dr. Light fashion, usually replies like, bad luck.
Die
he
insect.
wants me to lose. Yeah. So, but in this particular occasion, I said good luck, and he saved a screenshot and showed me later of his hand. And my little bubble's popping up that says good luck, and he's got Neptulon and Bloody Cahoon in his hand, and I'm on even Shaman. And so all his spells are summoning Ragnaros, which like I could give two McGurgles about. Like, I am just like going face.
Kills the 1/1 idiot totem.
And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it to this guy. He's BM'd me on even Reno Death Knight one too many times.
Yeah.
And the other story I have is actually involving this list. So I've played Sinferno several times in THL. He also a dad. Scheduling can be a little difficult sometimes because he's in a different time zone and he's got kind of a crazy schedule, and he's also trying to see his kid but also play THL. So like, we've vibed on that before. So I'd like to think that like Sinferno and I are pretty friendly at this point. And he's also always playing spicy stuff. So like I respect that. And so like we're playing, and like it's been a tough climb. And, I do my good luck. And he's like, good luck, have fun. And so we play out the game, and it's like turn 1, he goes into schooling. And I'm like, okay. And then turn 2 is like the Finley. And like I've built a decent board. I've kept the Totemic Surge. I've gone pretty wide. I've put him down to a reasonable amount of health. And he does the whole Clownfish, Ravager, Scargill, Flurgle, Tox, one amalgam band. Like, why the hell not? It's like, all right, it's Inferno, sure. And my board blows up and I concede. And I'm like, GG's good luck climbing. He's like, yeah, man, GG's good luck climbing. And right at the end, he slips in, yeah, it's really hard to build a Reno Shaman list. And I'm like, I don't want to know that it's Reno. I don't want to know that it's Reno. I don't want to know that you high rolled me, dude. I don't want to know that you high rolled me right now. I just
burn.
And Sinferno, I love you. But you did me dirty on that particular moment.
That was some information.
That was not great for my mental health. That was not great for my mental health at that particular moment. No.
That was not necessary. That was BM, right? Like, it was like, oh, yeah, by the way.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't even, I was so mad I didn't even reply.
Did not need to know that.
Now it's funny. Now it's very funny because I can share it on the podcast, and, like, we gain entertainment from it, and you can, absorb my pain as, like, sustenance. But, like, oh, man, like, that was not great.
Jeez.
This does work, like, and it's funny because, like, the one amalgam ban is not super crazy because look how many tribes you're playing.
It's not. I don't think it's in this list, is it?
You got Glacial Shard, you got Lothab's Undead, you've got Rustrod Viper's a beast, you've got Murlocs up the wazoo, you've got
Grumble, I think, is an elemental.
Grumble's elemental,
and
but
so
you also have
Snowfall.
Glacial Shard. So
Yeah.
you're playing a bunch of tribes. So like it's not crazy, and not only that, like if you really need to if you really need to in a greed matchup, like one amalgam band's battle cry is going to transfer over to Shudderwock.
Oh, barf. All right. Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, no, this is a pretty spicy list, but I think that in general the deck is solid.
Oh yeah, Ill Shaman. Let's do something different.
Yeah, all right. So the other ones that I was looking for, I asked SchmoopieDaddy like I posted something on Twitter and then I tagged the wrong podcast. I tagged Born to Be Cosmo on by mistake, like but I was looking for a warlock, like a Questline Warlock. I think I only ran into one on my climb so far. It was an XL Questline Warlock that was basically heavy removal, and we'll play the quest reward when we get around to it. And like it just ate me up. And SchmoopieDaddy found a list that we have here. It's running Captain's Parrot. I could not even believe it, but it makes sense once you get into it. The other deck that I was really looking for because I ran into it as well and it looked fun was Miracle Rogue. Maybe next week. I'd love to find a good Kingsbane list as well, but maybe next week.
Oh, we have those in spades.
Sweet.
I'll be ready.
And then our buddy Neon Heron hit legend with Paladin. I'm like, what Paladin? What? Like, let's see it. Let's see. I've seen a surprising amount of mech lists coming back between Mech Mage and Mech Paladin and being like actually really strong. But Neon's list is or Neon Heron's list is not mechs anyhow.
It's Handbuff Paladin.
Wow. All right. Well, anyways, let's look at these first. I've got Warlock, sure. And then we'll look at the Paladin. And then we'll wrap up the show with the
Handbuff.
We've got the Miracle, and then you've got the spicy Death Knight list here, and then we'll call it an evening and get into some matches. Where can we look at all the decks posted to date? They're in our show notes. I'll let me put the link in chat real quick if you want to check it out. We've been posting them as we go, but I put the Google Docs link in the chat right now if you want to check it out. The pictures and the codes are all there if you want to copy and paste them. And
also the Discord. The Discord is full of decks. People are constantly posting these there's all different categories for every single class. And yeah, and so it's really
good. Or just like ping me.
Right? Yeah.
Just go to the Discord and be like, "Hey, SchmoopieDaddy, where's that like list that you were looking for? Like, please."
That's
please,
what.
Just ping me.
It worked for me. I was complaining. I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for an XL Questline Warlock. You got anything?" Yep.
Done?
I got one of those.
This is why I'm a Decretary.
I love it. So here it is, and I think this is probably either the same or similar that I was looking for. So I only ran into one on my climb, but it wasn't aggressive like the old style of Questline Warlock. It felt like the whole deck was like removal, and we'll get around to the Questline when we feel like it, which is pretty much what this is, but it's running Tony at the top end, which is kind of spicy. So
do you want me to intro this?
Yeah, can you take us through it? Because I've not played this yet.
I've been dangerously close to bringing this deck to THL.
Wow.
So this deck running 2 Glacial Shards, running a Cobalt Sticky Finger, running a Captain's Parrot. You look at it, literally the first time I saw it, I was just like,
it's a
what
trap.
is this pile of cards? This is a train wreck. This is a deck that has hit rank 1 Legend. Its main function, like Nate was saying, was it's trying to play control Warlock first, Questline Warlock second.
Mm-hmm.
When you play it from that perspective, it makes more sense. Tony makes the list so much more flexible because you can do some really goofy stuff. Yeah, get the Admiral Akbar up there. Like it's a couple days after Star Wars Day. It's a trap. It's a trap. You can do goofy stuff on turn 7. Like you can play Tony, Solarium, Finley.
Gross.
And get a whole mess of your opponent's cards in your hand. Which, like, if you're playing against like Quest Mage, that's a thing that you want. You want to like grab like the important cards. So like that's a thing that you can do against combo decks. But Tony, just in general, when like an aggro deck, when you're playing against an aggro deck, and you've finally gotten to the point where like you're stabilizing, they're top decking. You don't have a whole lot of health. Dropping a Dirty Rat and Tony pretty much ends it. Because, like, now they're drawing Warlock cards, but they don't have the Warlock hero power to dig for them.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're the aggro deck. So I have a lot of really funny screenshots of me playing, like, even Shaman Warlock. and like me playing like because it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm running Cobalt Sticky Fingers. I'm gonna take that chisel. I'm gonna freeze your face with the glacial shard, so that you don't use a charge on the chisel, and then you've equipped it. Nice job. I'm gonna play Sticky Finger. Take it. And oh, by the way, when I swing into one of your minions with attack, that also furthers my quest line. Yeah. So like the Sticky Finger is actually one of I thought it was going to be one of the most offensive cards that I've ever played in a deck in my life, and it actually kind of works in the list in a really strange way.
I guess it makes sense because like you said, if you've got a weapon equipped and you swing into it and you take damage, it furthers your questline progression. It's super weird. I mean, I normally like if I see Cobalt Sticky Fingers in a list, I like get out.
Delete. You're like, get out. Not worth it. Not worth it. But like, and the Captain's Parrot. Like the Captain's Parrot is like the
Captain's Parrot. Like what?
It's genius though, right? You can tutor your Tony.
Java's a friend of the show. That was the one card he had to craft to try to list. And the first game he plays, because like I'm always trying to send Java like, my fun Warlock lists. I want Java to have fun, and so like I send him the list. He crafts the parrot. He makes a big deal about how like, oh yeah, I had to craft the parrot.
But don't you get Captain's Parrot from having all the pirates?
He doesn't have green skin.
Oh.
So I don't know. Craft green skin.
Craft green skin. Get parrot for free.
They changed it at one point.
He's a Warlock main. He's a Warlock main. When is he going to play in greenskin? Right? Like, is he going to be smacking people with his rune mithril rod? Like, maybe. It's Java. Like, that's like not outside the realm of possibility. But apparently, it's like for him, it was like a bridge too far. Okay, Java. Anyway, he crafted the one Captain's Parrot, and the first game he's playing the deck, it gets ratted on too. He's just like, what the heck, man? And I'm just like, are you kidding me? That's like one of the best hits in the deck. But it's there's other cute stuff you can do, like Tony Soulrend in like Greed Mirrors, because you're playing a bunch of little dude. So like you want your Tony to die, like because you don't expect your Tony to live very long. But so like you swap decks, you blow up their deck a little bit. They draw one of your cards, unfortunate, and then you just blow up your Tony, and now like you're way ahead in fatigue.
I really like that actually. I was always really opposed to Soulrend because it can keep you alive, but the downside in my mind like outweighed the upside because you're running a bunch of good cards and you're gonna burn a bunch. And I thought that I'm like, this just doesn't seem like the payoff is good enough, but like. You want to flip it on them and like, cool, let's burn your cards. It's great. It's like Ticketus Jr. spell version.
This is an old version of the deck too. I'm pretty sure this guy now runs Altar of Fire in this deck, 2 copies. So like, he's paranoid about Reno Quest Mage. So it's like, they play Polkelt.
Yeah, that
I
deck
play
is
Altar of Fire. And I nuke their Roro, I nuke their Magister Varden, and I nuke one of their 4-drops, one of their what's their 5-drop? Queen Ashara.
Yeah.
He's like, that's what I'm playing against, and it's just like, all right, this is what the CN players like. This is the level of paranoia that they're going to.
Well,
this is what they're counter queuing. This is how we get like funky deck lists, and we're just like, why the hell are we playing this card? Because of this one particular matchup that like 2 or 3 people that they're queuing against. Like, I tell you what, to play constantly. It's nutty.
The meta was very different before the China server shut down. It was very stable and very boring, but like I knew what I was playing against. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna play.
I love these guys.
It was just it was, hey, whatever's on Tempo Storm, that's what everyone's playing, and it's all very predictable and a little boring, but the circle of life must go on. And then the China server shut down, and all of these, like, their meta has always been so diverse and the lists are so spicy and different. And then they all came over here, and now our meta is it's wild. I don't know what else to call it.
They did not change one bit.
They're
just like
but
they're like whatever. It's like it's a different philosophy.
It is, but I like
instead of morphing to like what we do, they just kept doing what they do, and it's changed us, which is pretty cool.
And I think there's like so much volume there that you can't. Their lists are so wacky that you can't always play around them. They're unpredictable. Who would ever think that you'd be playing Captain's Parrot in 2023? Like,
or
what?
Ever.
Like I see. Well, here's the funny thing. Like I'm looking for the Captain's Parrot. Like I know your list. If you play Captain's Parrot, I know your 40 cards.
Yeah,
I know the list. So like just know all the lists, and you're fine. Like you can play against the Chinese players. Like they just know all the lists. just know all the lists. Or you know, you do a little deductive reasoning. Oh, they must have this in their deck. This is the thing that they're going for. I mean, that's like
They play a lot of tech cards, but they also play a lot of spicy combos that I hadn't thought about before, which I really respect. So like the whole idea
Finley Tony as a neutral combo is in any deck is
yeah.
A thing.
Yeah, so this is interesting, and I don't think it's bad. I don't know that this is totally refined, but the idea of it I think is pretty fun, and I haven't played Warlock in a minute. I get irritated when I have like a list that's all in gold except one card. Like, oh God,
I see that you don't have
there's two here. I need
Dark Pact.
Yeah, because I think Dark Pact, like maybe it was core at one point, or maybe I don't know. I don't remember. Like I thought I had it.
Gross now. It's gross now.
Oh gosh, now that they unnerfed it, it's pretty gnarly. So like
it's fine, but it's gross.
Yeah. I could be.
It's okay, but like,
but heck, if I'm gonna run a deck with one non-golden card, so
keep two, and then you're not gonna be tempted to make
it hurts with the epics. It hurts with the epics. So much dust.
I'm at 92k dust for the channel. I'm gonna make you craft that Captain's Parrot when we get there.
All right, so Neon Heron is a longtime friend of SchmoopieDaddy. Every time we've ever asked you to do a shout out, it's Shmoopie Mommy and Neon Heron. And I was online. I think he's on my friends list, or maybe I was just on Twitter at the right time. But I saw like the little like Neon Heron hit legend, and I was like, oh sweet, what was it with? And then I see Paladin. I'm like, what? Again, what? It's crazy to me that we're living in a world where you can hit legend with Paladin again in Wild, because a class hasn't been viable in Wild in ages. So that makes me have a little bit of hope for humanity. But in true boomer status, he posted like, got legend with Paladin with no picture of the deck and no deck code.
Yet somehow Neon 31 had the code at like 6 a.m. this morning.
Oh, he must have messaged him or something. I don't know, because it was not there. But
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how he did it.
We have
Back in my day, there was no codes.
Well, but there was no picture either, so it was just a legend screenshot, right? With but no picture of the deck.
We'll work on it. Listen, I've known Neon Heron for a long time. We've been best friends since like 3rd grade. So he needs a little training sometimes, a little bit of housebreaking. You know, I don't know. Maybe he comes on sometime. You guys can observe our banter.
I'd be okay with that.
Because I'm like me and Hearthstone are probably directly at fault for at least 2 of his recent breakups. So like, you know, it's at least it's if for nothing else, it's going to be entertaining. But his background, like, where he really was a strong player. An 11x level player was when Dark Lair was good. So when Dark Lair was like OP, like he figured it out. I couldn't figure it out, but he was like just like popping off with Dark Lair. He's a big Magic the Gathering player, so like it was just sort of vibing with what he plays. And then you know, he sort of got bored of Dark Lair. And he was playing a lot against like Bodybuilder and Inman and whatnot. And he's just like, dude, you guys play a really cool deck. Can I play your deck? And so he got into Handbuff Paladin. And then Handbuff Paladin during Barons was OP until they nerfed it like 8 billion times, right?
Yes.
And like I've watched his interest in Wild kind of wax and wane with how good Handbuff Paladin is. And so I got a list scouting my THL opponent, Hyperion, for this week. Last week or 2 weeks ago, because we've had an extended week because of the breaks, because of the nerfs. He brought up a Handbuff Paladin week 1 to THL. I'm just like, hey, Heron, try this. And he tried it, and he gutted it, and he's just like, all right, I like parts of this, I don't like parts of it. And this is what we sort of came up with in our brain trust, because like I have a history of just sort of like, you know, he'd be up there and he'd be playing and he'd just be like, man, I don't know what to do with this list. I'm like, try this card. And he'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's much better. and so like I've been sort of like, we do this like back and forth where I kind of like refine a list and then he tries something, and like there's cards in here that I would have never tried in a million years. Like the Sidan, the 3-mana legendary where it doubles whatever buffs he gets. So normally this is kind of mid because you're buffing it in hand with like +1/+1. Oh man, look, it got +2/+2. Good job. But now the conviction is unnerfed.
Oh.
When you slap a conviction on that sucker, it's not getting +3, it's getting +6. And he has rush. And the thing that the glue or the straw that stirs the drink of this deck now is the Disco Maul. This weapon is gross.
It is.
And I don't know how many, if you guys have like counted the number of charge and rush minions in this particular list.
I've not
it's
counted.
Somewhere on the order of,
I see a lot.
6 or 7 charge minions. So like,
and can have
you're
Wind Fury
charging
sometimes.
Yeah, and then we've got a Battle Master just because like I was just like, man, I miss doing Boar Battle Master, and Heron's just like, I miss doing that too. and so
let's do it.
And let's do it together. And like that's the thing. He's willing to try anything more than even me, because he's less plugged in than me. So he can go even more unhinged with some of his experimentation. Which is why there's no Morgana Infantry in here. And anyway, that's
a card.
But you know, the Disco Maul means that you can kind of like play minions tempo out. Play chargers like they're rushers.
Wait, remind folks.
Like you need to.
Can you remind audience what that card does?
Sure, Disco Maul. It starts as a 2-mana 2/2 weapon. But its Death Rattle reads give +1/+1 to a random minion on your field, but gets upgraded per every minion that you play. So let's say you coin Disco Maul on 1, which he says is one of his common plays. Mm-hmm. So like he coins Disco Maul. Now he's playing his Grime Street Outfitter, and now it gives +2/+2, and then he might tempo out a Boar. Now it gives +3/+3. Ew. Now he's gonna play his Bannerman. Now it gives +4/+4, and it just sort of gets out of hand. The original Hyperion list was doing like the standard thing, which is you'd play your Sinful Sous Chef, which is a 1-mana 2/1 Death Rattle, add 2 Silverhand Recruits to your hand.
Yeah.
So 2 little 1/1s. So you're like kind of like juicing it up that way. Yeah. That was a little bit too cute for Wild. He's perfectly happy to do like coin Maul on 1, swing once, kill something. Play Crab Rider on 2, swing with the Maul again. Now his Crab Rider has +2/+2.
Yeah.
Ew.
And now I've got tempo. Now he's got tempo, and then he can play stuff like Hand of a Doll. Now he can even like if he's feeling spicy, do an early conviction on his Crab Rider with Wind Fury. So this is really like very tempo forward, but not only tempo forward, but just like I am going to kill you from hand so quickly. And the difficulty is finding the balance between how much tempo you play for and how much kill from hand you're playing for, with the draw package in Handbuff Paladin being nerfed the way it is. Like Grime Street Outfitter being a 2/2 instead of a 1/1 is a nerf for this deck. Crystology no longer tutors it. We cut Salad's Pride because like Salad's Pride like doesn't It draws boars. We don't play Broom because we don't need Broom because everything has Rush or Charge already. Which is brilliant. I would have thought like never in a million years you always need Broom.
I'd be so mad if I got lethal from Nomergon infantry.
Yeah, and it will happen. And listen, the taunt, he's saying like that guy's kind of on the border because what I'm trying to convince him of now is that it's another one attack minion, and like you really want your Samuro in some matchups.
Yeah.
So making Crystology get your Crab Riders and your Samuros consistently, and like snagging the odd boar along the way that you're like buffing and buffing and buffing and buffing ain't bad. Maybe replacing that with something like Pack Mule. Like the taunt is relevant. In the matchups where the taunt is relevant, it's relevant. But yeah, hit legend with this. And he said that one of the things that was really interesting is he was absolutely slapping Shudderwock Shaman with this.
Huh.
Wow.
I thought was interesting because he's getting the early chip damage in with the Crab Rider. And
if he's
it's
doing
all charge damage.
Yeah, if he's doing damage from hand, that's where like Shudderwock can stall games, but you know, as long as you're not board locking yourself, like if you can hand buff and then send things face, like it's really good.
The Ziliax used to be a Cobalt Sticky Finger. I did convince him to make that change, and he said that the deck got a lot better into aggro.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But that's I think what I can add to this list was our general like go between. He would love to run the what's the gemstone whatever, the 5-mana 3/4 that gives +2/+2 to everything in your hand. Long ago in a different meta, I cut one of those for Run Thak, just because it has rush.
Yeah.
And like you get the buff, and he's got a big butt, and sometimes he sticks around and attacks second time anyway. But it's impactful on the board. We've got the Chill Blades for lifesteal. Like I played this today to a slightly negative win rate, but I know at least 3 games where I punted. 3 games I don't know what I was doing. I didn't make the correct decision based on the list the situation in front of me. So
got to get some more practice, more games under the belt.
We do have 2 more lists that we're going to feature tonight: Miracle Rogue and whatever the heck this is, Death Knight. But we have a question in chat about do you have any thoughts on Frost Death Knight? I have not played it in Wild personally, so I don't know. SchmoopieDaddy, you were playing it for a while.
He's got a big smile on his face right there.
Oh no! Oh, all right. You have to keep it to 5 minutes or less.
I'll keep it at 30 seconds. I think Frost Death Knight's big problem. If you're playing the even version, right? Like the hero power is the strong part of Death Knight. And like that beats certain aggro decks right now. The problem with Frost in general is while I love it and it's very bursty and it's very aggressive, it's a step slow versus the other aggro decks right now. So you need some other little wrinkle or something to make it work, and that's Frost in a nutshell. Like you can make it work. Like I know Martian's having a lot of fun with it right now, and I'm sure it's like tier 3 playable, but like it's tier 3.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree, and I just Death Knight is in one of those weird spots where it's new to the game, and so its relevance in Wild is not quite it's just not as far along as all the other classes.
Just like Demon Hunter.
Pretty much, yeah. Like there's some fringe decks, but nothing that's going to be like tier 1, tier 2 yet. So I guess we'll see. What do we got it's undefeated in THL? All right. If you want to send us a list, we can look at it, but we're a little bit running out of time because we're going to host a listener series match tonight. But we do have 2 more decks to look at. One is a Miracle Rogue list. I ran into one on my climb and I beat it, but it looked really cool. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Like, especially when they're playing a whole bunch of cards in a turn. And when you get Arcane Giants down for free, super early game, it was like, oh, that's scary. And it was just felt very tempo centric. I haven't had a chance to play it. So
a little history lesson on this deck list is early on in the sunken meta, there is somebody in I think it was a Chinese player who got early legend with like an arcane giant version of Miracle Rogue back when Sinstone was still 2. We've cut Sinstone Graveyard since then because at 3 it's just unplayable in Wild.
Mm-hmm.
And it was running like Arcane Giants and Prize Plunderers and like a random Broom here or there. And it was largely scoffed at by the greater Western Miracle community. I kept playing that list in THL and I did very well with it. I won a lot of games playing that list specifically. Because Mailbox Dancer is the nuts when you start using it with Shadow Step and stuff, and you're talking about Arcane Giants.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're juicing them up, and then you're knocking them down. And Sinstone Graveyard ultimately was better than Arcane Giant. Arcane Giant got cut from the lists, but Mailbox stayed. Now that we have Breakdance as a spell, you can drop an Arcane Giant, play Breakdance on it, make an 8/8 with Rush, and then most of the time play an Arcane Giant for free right afterwards. And oh, by the way, we have Lotheb in here, so we can slap Lotheb down.
Ooh.
If we need to, we can Shadow Step Lotheb some more.
So Breakdance, Breakdance is the spell that says like it's like a Shadow Step, except it leaves behind
the same stats of the minion with Rush.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Same stats of the minion with Rush. So it's like 2 extra copies of Shadow Step.
That's an upgrade. Probably.
Probably. In matchups where spells are a big deal, you just spam Lotheb. Like you play Lotheb and then you Breakdance Lotheb and then you play Lotheb again, or you Shadow Step Lotheb, you play Lotheb again.
I just now have this Lotheb. Like mental image of like Lotheb breakdancing. It's very great.
Yeah, that's worth it. That's 100% worth it. I'm sure it's canon. Let's call in Goliath. But yeah, this is actually the list that Hyperion is bringing against me this week, and I'm really nervous about it. I don't know if I'm going to ban it or not, but it's based on the deck list I brought. But yeah, solid deck.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it looks really fun.
It's surprisingly good into aggro, because you just stack like you kind of rope a dope like Muhammad Ali, and then you just stat dump, and it's like, what are you gonna do?
Flurgle talks.
A lot of times
But no, it was tricky. I mean, if you can't deal with 2+ giants on the board, then it's like, I guess I'll just lose then, or 2 giants and a Lotheb.
And sometimes it's turn 3 and they've made a 24/24 Edwin, and you have Devolve, and you play Devolve, and it's like, and they're like, wow, and it's like, yeah, I know, yeah.
Didn't you make fun of what was my Edwin? You made fun of it the other day. It was kind of funny. You're like, oh, rookie numbers.
I saw a screenshot of Ogre getting a 40/40 Edwin. I don't know what he was up to. He got a 40/40, but like he made a 40/40, and like I don't even know if he won the game. It didn't really matter.
Mine was 24/24 with both giants down, and the 4/4s, and a couple of little pirates.
And I said like, what? Rookie numbers?
You said, oh no, actually you said above average turn. Never mind. I thought I found it. I found it. Yeah, no.
We're gonna say that's.
Did he make fun of it?
That's low for Wild.
No, it was good. Yeah.
I'd be down to do
either way. Yeah.
We haven't done a listener challenge in a long time. I'd be down to see who can get the biggest Edwin. But
I posted the image in our chat there if you want to show it, but
I'd be hey, 2 packs to whoever can send us a screenshot. But you got to do it. I think like maybe we should make them do it on ladder with like a real, because not like a build around where your deck is nothing but 0 cost and coins and stuff and some crazy way, but like to actually do it on ladder. I would like to see.
Taking off the gloves, putting on big boy pants. Well, all right, I like it.
It's coming out of my pocket, so
I'm down.
Okay.
I'll co-sign this.
All right.
I mean,
Listener challenge: who can make the biggest Edwin? The biggest Edwin, but you got to play it on ladder. Like,
Okay.
I don't care what rank it is on ladder, but it's got to be wild ladder.
And we'll take replay or screenshot as long as you can prove that it's ranked play.
Yeah. We got to see the screenshots. I'll take like video is cool, screenshot is cool. If you have the HS replay, that's fine. Although the screenshot's pretty fun. But yeah, I this one has got to be on the actual ladder. Whoever can get the biggest Edwin, send us the screenshot, and then whoever wins will give you 2 packs of your choice. Now, by next week, it's got to be before next Friday. So yeah, that's how it works. We'll post it on the website and on the Discord and wherever else. You get some bragging rights.
Get your 6/6s now, folks.
What's fun with this is like when people start early and then are constantly trying to like one up each other. Like, oh, you got a 2020, I got a 2222, and and then we see how big we can go, and then some crazy like we're gonna see someone just swoop in with like a 900.
So you guys could post it in the weekly challenges section on the Discord, which we have not used in a very long time. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, we haven't, because there was not like a lot of participation, but like, let's just do it. I think that'll be fun.
I'll get the word out.
All right, one last list to take a look at tonight, and then we're gonna close out the show, but we're going to be hosting a listener series match tonight that we're going to cast, which will be pretty cool, especially because we're in top 4 now. So this is a list. This is a Unholy Blood, even Death Knight list.
That's
even Handbuff list.
Wow.
Handbuff. Yeah, I see Samaros in there. Oh my gosh.
Let me,
what is going on here?
Hold on. Let me get out my, there we go. Disclaimer.
Yeah. Don't craft this deck.
So tell us about this list.
This pile of cards here.
Okay, so the inspiration for this, I refuse to believe that this deck was good. Right? Like, I refuse to believe that this deck was good. And I kept net decking like a couple of lists from it and kind of tweaking some cards here or there. And I kept winning with it when I was like farming like for Death Knight wins. But like I would hard lose to stuff like Shudderwock Shaman or something with Flurgle Socks and be like, all right, yeah, I can't beat a deck like I can't beat a deck like that. But this archetype seems to have some legs for what it's worth to me. The hero power is very strong into stuff like Pirate Rogue. You run Plague Strike, which is just nasty into even Shaman. And the thing is like, instead of going super wide and then buffing it and then going face, you're basically just sort of making tall stuff, metering it out for like an efficient mana cost. By basically mortgaging your time, like taking the first couple turns and like hero powering, and then you just play like big stuff and like blow out your opponent because they can't deal with it. The highlights to this list, so like obviously you want Blood Tap in the mulligan, but because of the Discover changes, which were nerfs to basically every other Death Knight deck under the planet, is a buff to this one because Hemothurge is now more likely to either find Blood Tap or the Harmonic Blood buff spell, because there are fewer 3-rune blood spells, which like this deck doesn't really need Vampiric Blood. It's not looking for that. Like, the card draw is nice, but it doesn't want it. It wants buffs. It needs buffs. Coin Stereo Totem is a really strong play in this deck because you hit, like, they usually can't kill it. It's got 3 health. They usually can't kill it over 1 turn, so it sticks for 2 turns. That's +4/+4 to your hand. That's not bad when your hand is stuff like Gnome Muncher or Swarm Guard or Malignant Horror which is probably not a card that you guys have seen play much, but you guys don't play a lot of Arena, I imagine. Because Malignant Horror is actually banned from Arena because it was too good. It's a 2/4 reborn. When at the end of the turn, it spends 4 corpses and produces a copy of itself.
Oh yeah,
so
that's the one.
If it's a 4/6,
but if it's buffed, yeah, all right.
It's making 4/6s. If it's a, I think today I played for fun. I lost because it was King's Bane and they had Blade Flurry, but I played like 2 8/4s. Like it was like an 8/4 monstrosity that was like copying itself, and of course the Blade Flurry killed it because King's Bane. But King's Bane is not an awful matchup because you run so much taunt. I know Martian wanted to change this list a little bit. The Necrolytes, the ones that infect a minion and say, okay, when this dies, you make a ghoul with Rush, those could probably Serenite Chain Gangs. We could probably fit Nokani in here. The Bloodworm is probably the weakest card. That being said, I recently played Get Meowth on stream with this list. And high rolled out of my mind and made like a 14-10 no muncher, and he's just like,
I guess I'll lose then.
So like that's the kind of thing that this deck can do, where like out of nowhere it's just kind of like, oh, I this is a board state I can't answer.
Yeah.
And so it's constantly looking for that, which is even why we're running Cornelius Rome for the card draw, because it's really the limiting factor is the card draw.
Mm-hmm.
If this deck found card draw, this would be a real deck. I have no doubts about that. When it does strong things, the things are strong. It's about getting there and kind of setting it up. So like you're keeping buffs in the mulligan, and you're keeping payoffs if you can. Like you're keeping a Malignant Horror, or you're keeping a No Muncher in the mulligan, hoping that you get a buff so that you get the payoff, or a Swarm Guard, like stuff like that.
It's definitely like way different than stuff that I've been running to on the ladder recently. So it seems like a lot of fun to give a shot.
Well, and there's no way that your opponent's going to see that coming, right? I mean,
no, not at all.
No. And so like this deck hard loses to something like Devolve, but if they don't know what you're doing, they're not keeping Devolve.
Right.
Yeah. It's just not a thing.
No, you wouldn't do that against a Death Knight.
And the 1-mana hero power, you rack up the corpses pretty quickly. I briefly considered the Mosh Pit, the new location in this deck, to give things Reborn, because with a different deck, with like a Rainbow DK deck that I was kind of like crafting with cheap, giving it, I don't know if you guys knew this, but giving a No Muncher Reborn's really good. And so like that tended to end games, but I don't think there's enough payoff here for that to be worth it. Because there's no like necrotic explosion, whatever, that's like counting how many corpses you're using. So yeah. But yeah, I think this is a legend viable deck. Like I think I have no problem pushing this out into the ether and being like, hey, you can hit legend with this. Because I think this deck is actually probably a lot better at MMRs where people are more prone to play Pirate Rogue and even Shaman. Mm-hmm. And less of the off-board stuff. Like, this gets a lot better around there.
Is it possible to commit a war crime in Hearthstone? SchmoopieDaddy is definitely a war criminal. Hearthstone war criminal.
Sure trying.
Yeah.
I've
the amount of times I've played Hostage Mage, or like,
Well, I mean, if the Nomer God Infantry lethal is a war crime, I think. Like if you like that card, oh my gosh! That's how you tilt someone.
What's wrong with it? It's 3 mana, but it's a 1/4 with charge. It's got a big butt. What do you got against big butts?
Oh, I got nothing against big butts. Oh, it's fantastic.
Azriel's reminding we've played many times, SchmoopieDaddy. Yeah, he's J'accuse. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, Uriel, sorry.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, good times. Yeah,
Anyway,
this is some
spicy
fun
text.
stuff, and I mean, it's kind of fun sometimes when there's no like news to talk about, and we get to goof around and talk about some of this stuff. These are fun, and I may have to goof around with these. I'm really interested. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's early in the month. We still have a lot of time and not much going on. Like, this is a good time to kind of goof around on ladder, and hitting legend with something off meta is always kind of fun. I think it's okay to take the tier 1 thing, but I always enjoy taking like kind of the goofy stuff, being the underdog. So hopefully y'all enjoy this and get something out of it. I guess we'll see what happens. And but this was fun kind of putting together these lists, and I think we have to do this more regularly.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I've had a question I've been thinking about for a little while. So, and now, unrelated advice with SchmoopieDaddy.
What?
SchmoopieDaddy, I've scoured the internet. I've seen many different ways, and I would like to know how you clean your cast iron skillet.
Oh, okay. I got worried for a minute. Yeah, so
that question could have gone anywhere, I suppose.
Wow.
I'm fairly flexible. I'm ready. The body's willing. So the funny thing about cast iron skillets, I've ruined at least one cast iron skillet because you don't want to use a lot of soap on it. Mm-hmm. The crusting to it is natural and expected and actually helps improve the flavor. So like going super soap heavy and trying to like scrub it all off, it's like not only is it like foolish and a waste of time, but also it's detrimental to the actual pan itself. But what you really need to make sure you do is dry it after like a quick little. I would do a light soapy wipe down and then wipe it down with a paper towel. And then, like, it's a cast iron skillet, so it's going to rip the hell out of the paper towel. So you're going to have to, like, rinse the paper towel off. But get it as dry as possible before you put it away, because it will rust. And the rust will ruin it. And ask me how I know. This is how I've ruined at least, like, 2 cast iron skillet pans. But, like, you can get them so hot that they're like amazing to cook with, like the things that you can get, like the searing of the meat. But it's not the same as a typical pan. And this is actually what's funny is this is actually giving me weird emotions right now, because like for a decent period of time, like me getting more involved in the Hearthstone community, the time I was doing that was when I was washing my dishes, because my kid was asleep. And like Shmoopie would be asleep, and I'd be washing dishes and like watching Raffle on Twitch when he was still like weekdays, like PM times, right? So like this is pandemic time. So this is like you're asking me a dishwashing question with Hearthstone, and like it seems like it's out of the ordinary, like it's out of the blue, like left field, but it's just like no, it's just like, oh man, I'm back in Nam.
It's perfect.
So,
yeah, see, like because there's so many different ways. I've done exactly that. Like I don't use the soap, right? I've done the wipe it with the paper towel, but yes, the paper towel gets shredded. One of the ones.
Have you done the salt?
Yes. So that is exactly what I was going to talk about. So
go ahead, you do it.
Table salt, right? It comes in a box. It's super cheap. And like whatever you have in there, because usually there's some fat or oil or whatever's left from the thing you cooked. Like if you made a steak in there or pork chops or whatever, it's gonna leave, some liquid and some other stuff, some spices, whatever left behind. You just pour a bunch of salt into it, and then you just get like a spatula and you just push around the salt and scrape the bottom and move it around until the salt just absorbs all of the stuff that's in the pan. And then you just put the salt in the garbage, and then your pan is clean. And then after that, I do take a vegetable oil and I coat the pan on like I keep the heat on it actually, and I coat the pan with the vegetable oil. That way, you have not lost your flavoring, because you season your pan, right, or your skillet. And so it keeps that, the salt is there, and the oil is to protect from the rust. And I know that you're not supposed to use an olive oil because potentially the olive oil could like go bad or whatever. Apparently vegetable oil is the best oil to use.
Yeah, I think it's a flashpoint issue. Like olive oil has a very high smoke point, whereas vegetable oil is a lot. Like it heats up and gets to that like. I say smoke point as if I know what the hell I'm talking about. But like the smoke, it gets to the vegetable oil gets to that like state where it's like absorbable and more malleable and more cookable a lot quicker than olive oil does.
Yeah. I found this salt method to be extremely good. You're just going to go through a bunch of salt, but luckily you can get a giant box of it for like $2. Nate, do you have any final input? How do you clean your cast iron skillet?
Oh yeah, we buy non-stick skillets, so I can't really contribute to this conversation. But you know what, my sister-in-law, like they had one, and we used it. Like I just hated it because everything stuck to it. It was a nightmare to cook with. It was a nightmare to clean with. And all you guys that are on your like cast iron skillet parade,
the best
like
thing.
It just like I'm not like 0% interested in one of those.
My wife got a deal.
I'm very happy for all of you that like your cast iron skills, but it's not for me.
Well, wiser words have never been spoken, and you heard that on
Born to be wild.